that is a big issue. If you look at Germany and Spain, countries that won the World Cup, their ratio is 1 to 20. For every 20 players, there is one highly qualified coach. And the coaches in our country and the continent would normally just do the introductory course. So we encourage our coaches to do the CAF-A license, to do the professional license, because those are the coaches that we need at grassroots level.
Okay.
Your best coaches must be there when the players start learning the basics of the game, because it's very difficult in the end when they've developed wrong tactical aptitude and attitudes to try and correct it later on. So we emphasize the training of coaches, and we are working hard to accelerate that program. The second thing that we have done is to strengthen our governance.
Okay.
We have now created the office of an integrity officer who used to be an acting judge. And so anyone who has a problem or difficulty can report it to the integrity officer. And then we also have an ethics committee where again 2 Supreme Court judges are serving on our ethics committee. And they must make sure that there's proper accountability, proper governance, and particularly financial accountability. We have seen, in spite of COVID, that we've managed to have a positive result on a financial year end, over in excess of 50 million we have. And the third thing that we did is to emphasize national team performance. And you may have seen that our national teams, our under 17 women team is one match away from qualifying for the under 17 World Cup, but I think FIFA may cancel that event because of COVID. The under 20 women team is 3 matches away from qualifying for the under 20 Women's World Cup. Our under 23 men team have qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. Under 17 boys team won the COSAFA championship. They are the champions, and thereby they've qualified for the African Cup of Nations under 17 in Morocco next year. And of course 4 of the top teams from AFCON will qualify for the World Cup. We hope to qualify again to go to under 17 World Cup. The under 20, of course, is underway now. They've just beaten Lesotho 7-0 yesterday. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that they must get to the final of the COSAFA under 20. Banyana, of course, are the champions of the COSAFA region. This is for the 4th consecutive time that they've won the title. But I think what is significant this year is that we have 32 women players playing in Europe, and the coach decided not to call any of the players in Europe. Players like Tembi Khaslana, Mbane, Linda Matlau, Rafil Wejani, who's playing for AC Milan, and so on. And notwithstanding that we have young players who played in the National League of Women. They won COSAFA Cup again. So next year they start with African Cup of Nations qualifiers, and of course from there we will have World Cup qualifiers for 2023. And then Bafana, of course Bafana and Ghana, they are both sitting on 9 points in our group, and we probably need another point to make sure that we qualify for our 2nd consecutive AFCON. In 2019 in Egypt, we lost in the quarterfinals. We beat Egypt in Egypt and then played against Nigeria in the quarterfinals, and unfortunately we lost in the very last minute. It was 2 minutes to go when Nigeria scored from a corner, and we're out of the tournament. But the team performed very well. So next year is going to be an interesting year, particularly for Bafana and Banyana, as they try to qualify for AFCON and for the World Cup in 2021 and 2022. Well, I think school sport is the most important area, and I think we have a school sports committee now. We said one, only teachers must serve on that committee, and two, that there are 24,000 schools in our country. We need at least 10% of those schools to play football, and that's 10,000 schools. And if we have 20 players per school, we will have another 200,000 additional players. And if we have another 100,000 girls playing football, it's another 100,000, so it's another 300,000. And that will take us over 3 million members playing football in our country. School sport is the most important. FIFA has also recognized that, and it's making serious emphasis on two areas, on women's football and schools football. And of course, we are happy because that fits completely into our own strategy as set out in Vision 2022. Yes, part of it also is to look for gender equality in the sport of football. In other words, we must have women coaches, women referees, we must have competitive women teams. And if you look at it now, our under-17 girls has been to the World Cup, is very close to going to the World Cup again, unless, of course, FIFA calls it off. Under-20 is very close to go to the World Cup. And Banyana, of course, went to the final of the last AFCON in Ghana and also to the World Cup in France. When it comes to coaches, we've taken a decision that every women's team must be coached by a woman. And so all our coaches for the women teams are women. Most of the technical staff in that team are women. And also, we are having a meeting with the national clubs who are playing in the National League for women's football, and we want to encourage them too to appoint women coaches in their clubs. When it comes to referees, we have 270 women referees. Many of them are now refereeing even PSL matches, and even at international level and at COSAFA level, we have women taking charge of the matches right up until final matches. So we are very happy with the progress of women referees. Many of them have FIFA badges, and as you may have seen, that they are either fourth officials or assistant referees or referees in the PSL. Well, the progress of players and continuity, you can only achieve development outcomes by having a continuous chain for the players. And so it's a technical matter that we get all the coaches to work together. Desi Ellis is working with Sampiwe Tlutlu, who's the under-17 coach, with Mort Kamala, who's the under-20 coach, and the same on the men's side. Marefin Tseki, who's a Bafana coach, is working with Vela Kumalo, who's the under-17 men's coach, and the under-20, Alman Kalele, who's the under-20 coach, and David Natwane, who's the under-23 coach. They work as a team to ensure that the progress and the development of the players forms a continuous path right into Bafana. And if you look at Bafana now, there are players like Luther Singh, like Tebogo Makwena, like Lyle Foster, who's in the under-23 team, but has already played in the Bafana. So that comes as a result of that consultation and engagement of the coach. Well, what we said about Vision 2022 is all of our national teams must be in the top 10.
Okay.
And all of them, under 17 men's, under 17 women, under 20 men, under 20 women, under 23, Bafana, Banyana. They're all in between 3 and 5 on the African continent.
Okay.
Except Bafana, who's at number 11.
Okay.
So we need to work hard to get Bafana into the top 10 as well. So I think in terms of Vision 2022, we are very happy with the outcome. And one of the things that we said is that you have to get your junior national teams to be active and to be able to compete. Because for too long you find that the first cap at senior level, at Bafana level or Banyana level, is when you select the player. That is his or her very first cap in international football. When you look at the countries who've won the World Cup, Germany, Spain, Brazil, Argentina, by the time they get to the senior team, they go there with between 50 and 70 caps, international caps. And that is the profile of the players that we want to get into Bafana and Banyana. And we've achieved that. Now it's just a question that when the players get out of under 20, they then join the professional clubs, and unfortunately too many of them are sitting on the bench or sitting on the stand. They don't get game time, and that's an issue that we have to further engage on, so that these young players can get the opportunity. It is very significant when you look at clubs in Europe, even Barcelona. A 16, 17-year-old player will play at the highest level of the clubs. And yet on the African continent, we are reluctant to give 16, 17, 18-year-old players the opportunity. They must sit there until they're 26, 27, then we select them. And that is still, I think, a difficulty, that we must show greater belief, greater confidence, and create greater opportunities for young African players. Why is it that when they go to Europe, they play when they're 17, 18? When they play in Africa, they must wait for over 20 to play. Absolutely, we are very happy for Pitso. We want to congratulate him. I was there at the CAF Champions League final, and it was extraordinary how the Egyptian fans embraced him and supported, sang for him. They adopted him. He's their son, he's their brother, he's part of them. And this is what football can do. All of the other things are forgotten. Pitso has brought them the cup, and I think he's one of the few coaches that has won a treble for 2 clubs in basically 1 year. So he left here having won a treble for Mamelodi Sundowns. He went to Al Ahly in Egypt and won a treble for them as well. So he's won 6 trophies in 1 year. It's an extraordinary achievement.
Amazing.
And it just shows you that African coaches, given the opportunity, can compete with the best. It's an issue that even in the English FA, one of the big debates is around black coaches or African coaches in general not being given a chance in the top leagues in Europe. So I hope this kind of achievement will break that mold, and we'll see more African coaches going outside their own country and given opportunities outside our continent. Because in our country also, most of the coaches are just coaching in their own country.
True.
So it's a trend that we have to encourage, and that will help to broaden the experience. Also, it will bring people together. Well, I think if we did not believe that Patrice Motsepe had a strong chance, we would not nominate him. So we believe he has a very good chance. I think that African football is at a crossroads. There are certain challenges that there, and we believe that he can bring to bear the kind of offering in leadership that will benefit African football. He's no stranger to Africa or African countries. He has business in almost 44 countries on the continent. So he's been to almost every African country.
Okay.
Not only does he know the football, he knows much more than the football. He knows the economy, he knows business connections. And I think one of the things on the African continent, and this is a strange development on the continent, you'll find the biggest economies in the world at the moment is China, is India, is the United States, is Germany, and many of the countries in the Middle East. Most of them invest in Africa. You go to any country on the continent, they invest there.
Okay.
And they make billions from the African continent, because Africa is rich. It has all the minerals, everything that you can dream of is on Africa, whether it's oil, diamond, gold, platinum, fish, you name it, we have it. Forestry, wood, everything, we have everything. Now, they invest, they make the money, and when it comes to football, they don't invest in African football. They buy Man United, Man City, Glazers from America is there in Man United. Man City is from the Middle East. Qatar bought into Paris Saint-Germain in France. And so if you look at their investment, even China's investment in the English Premier League, and so you ask the question, but if they make their money here, why are they not supporting football here? And it's very clear there is a disconnect between football and business on the continent. Even the big businessmen on the African continent have no link or connection with football.
True.
So we must look at our own continent and look at the world and say, how can we get a CAF that builds partnership, relationship with business? Not for the sake of business, for the benefit of football, so that we can get greater investment into football, so that every African country must benefit. We must create a better financial environment for football to thrive. And when you speak to anyone on the continent, it is resources. It is financial resources. And if you can, and the money is there. Africa is a big market.
True.
It is just that we don't speak with and together with business. So that is a key issue that I think of all the candidates he can bring.
Okay.
He's been in the top 100 most successful CEOs in the world. He's been in the top 100 of Fortune magazines, most successful business. But he also run a successful club. You talk about Pizzo comes from his club. He has identified the people that can bring results, both in business and in football. So you need somebody to go into CAF to understand what it needs to have a successful CAF, and to have a CAF that is respected, that is well resourced, that can address the problem of broadcasting on the African continent. And now you cannot see African football on the African continent. So there are these issues that must be addressed. Question of development of women's football. These are critical issues that we as a federation looked at. What are the challenges? What are the profile of all the candidates, the people who put their hand up, and who can make a difference, and who has a track record. And that brought us to a decision to say, it is time that we are decisive on the continent and bring somebody who is not pleading for the post. He does not need per diem, he does not need anything from anybody. But he is an African. He has an African heart. He has the interest of African football. He has shown that. And let me tell you, he has not missed any major African competition. He was now at the final of the CAF Champions League. He was at the World Cup in Qatar, Club World Cup in Qatar last year. He was in 2018 in the World Cup in Russia. He was in the World Cup in Brazil. He was, of course, working with us in the World Cup in South Africa. So at a global football level, they understand the issues. And so we will work hard because we believe it's in the interest of African football. Of course, that's not a decision for us. It's a decision for the African continent. So we must work with the African continent, speak to everyone, and hopefully convince them that, look, it's in all of our interests to have a person that can stand up in any forum, anywhere in the world, and speak confidently and competently on behalf of the African continent, so that football can be taken as a serious sport and business venture for the benefit of football on the continent.